Hello everyone and welcome to my first ever YouTube video. My name's Andy, I'm the Mad Tatter. I operate from Cheshire in the UK. I'm a full-time eBay reseller. That means basically I buy items from anywhere I can and sell them on eBay for a profit. It's been my full-time job since September 2018 and I'll probably go into that in more detail in a future video as to how I came to reselling, what I know about it, etc. Really quick introduction to me. I spent 10 years as a pawnbroker and jeweller in the jewellery trade, so I'm quite familiar with dealing with second-hand items, marking up items, etc. And I've also spent 5 years as a used car salesman, which may come across in my videos, you never know. I've also done a couple of years work in various different retail jobs, so I've spent my whole life working in retail and customer service, and today the purpose of this video, which is entirely live and unedited, unscripted, I'm just going for it. The purpose of this video is purely to show you a few items that I've picked up. I'll give you a cumulative total of what I've paid for these items and also what I expect to return on these items in terms of sales on eBay. So without further ado, I'll get into a few bits and pieces. And to begin with, I'll just talk about these types of things. Just reach in my little off-screen area here and throw everything on the floor. This is an area which I personally really enjoy buying products from. You can tell I've never done this before, look at how well framed that was. This is an area that I particularly enjoy buying products from, simply because they're generally not very expensive and you can generally get a pretty good return on them. Remote controls. I think everybody probably watching this video has either lost or had a remote control break in the past, so people always want to replace them, and it doesn't matter whether it's new stuff, old stuff, the remotes are in demand. So a couple of the remotes I've got here. Let's start with this one. This is a BT Vision U-View box remote, so for a set-top box like a Freeview box, TV on demand type service. What you want to do with remote controls before you buy them, just pop the back off, and just make sure that those contacts inside there are nice and free. And my camera's not focusing, but you get the idea. Just make sure that they're nice and free of any fur, any sort of nasty build-up or discharge in there from exploded batteries or anything like that. That's not to say you should discount a remote control completely. If it is showing any signs of a little bit of corrosion in there or a little bit of discharge in there, it's potentially can be cleaned up and doesn't necessarily affect the performance of the remotes. I would say these are a great thing for people that are starting in reselling to have a look at, simply because they are quite cheap. If you don't have a huge budget to start out reselling, you can generally go into things like car boots, charity shops, things like that. You can pick up remote controls, anything up to a couple of pounds really. They don't even necessarily go that expensive in some cases. You can buy them for pence and sell them for pounds. So they're a great way to get started in reselling. They're also relatively easy to test and quite easy to ship as well. So that's the BT Vision. We've also got one here for a vintage Sony CRT TV. Believe it or not, these things are still in demand. Again, just pop the back off, check for any corrosion on those contacts there. CRT TVs are becoming a little bit desirable. They're not hugely popular, but certainly people with old games consoles and things like that, they do like to play them, or do have to play them in a lot of cases on a CRT TV, because the refresh rate is wrong on modern TVs for old consoles. Lastly there in the remote section, we've got a Sony audio remote. Just a quick note just on Sony in general, actually. I've often said to my wife, who works with me sometimes, I would buy dog poo if it had Sony written on it. And quite frankly, yeah, you generally can't go wrong with anything they make. If you're paying the right price for it, you'll always see a good return on Sony products. It's not the case with everything, but it's generally a pretty reliable thing to buy. So 3 remote controls there, just to get started. In a similar vein to remote controls, other items you can look out for that aren't particularly expensive to get you started reselling. Peripherals. Now these can be things like this, PlayStation 2 and 3 DJ Hero dongle. These quite often go missing. If you're buying a full DJ Hero pack or a Guitar Hero pack or something along those lines, quite often you will find these sort of things missing. I would generally avoid buying them if those sort of things are missing. However, if a loose dongle ever turns up and it's relatively affordable, I'll always pick them up because the fact that they're missing means people always want them. Similarly, computer peripherals. This is a Logitech receiver for a wireless mouse and trackball. Again, not an expensive item to have to have bought, but not a huge sort of seller either. So you have to bear in mind sometimes that these things are going to sit for a little while, but if you don't have too much cash tied up in them, that's not such a bad thing. So that's another little one there, peripherals for you. Okay, what else have we got? Okay, new and sealed items. This is kind of a no-brainer in many respects. People are going to always want to buy a new item, in many cases in preference to a second-hand item. So there's a couple of very different things here. They're very different from each other, certainly. The first one here is this Polar branded. I'm going to get better at using a camera, I promise. Is this Polar branded cadence sensor. What this is for, this actually connects to your bike frame, as you can sort of see in the little illustration on the back there. This connects to the bike frame. It's then compatible with your Polar branded fitness trackers, and it sort of monitors performance cycling. I've not really fully researched this item yet to exactly know what it does completely, but I will do that before it gets listed, of course. And that's that one. Another new and sealed item, again very different from the last one, is this Xylis. This is a shake and pour dressing mixer bottle. This is Swiss made. Now this is a great little tip for people in general, something that I learned quite early on in the jewellery trade, and it certainly applies to a lot of other items in a lot of other trades and professions and areas of business as well. That is, generally speaking, Swiss made and German made products are fantastic quality and generally command reasonable prices, and that carries across whether it's kitchenwares, tools, homewares. Swiss and German made stuff is just generally of excellent quality. This is a brand new and sealed item, so shouldn't have any problem selling that one at all. So new and sealed items, always great, always nice and easy to sort of to sell as well. Generally speaking, certainly to begin with, if you want to focus on new items, look for things that you're likely to use yourself. That way, if it ever sticks and doesn't sell or anything like that, you've got a brand new product you can use yourself, so you're not really at any great loss there. Similarly, again, on new and sealed, we've got a Canon number 15 black ink twin pack. This is expired. Oh no, is it expired? I'll have to double check. I thought that was an expiry date when I picked it up, but maybe it's not. Toner cartridges, ink cartridges, a lot of resellers you'll hear talk about them. They are generally pretty good earners, pretty good sellers. They're something that people always need. You do have to be careful with certain ones. I'm not going to lie to you. Certain HP ones, for instance, they're always going to, if they're out of date, the printers will identify that and they'll refuse to work. Certain ones, I had, for instance, a load of off-brand Epson cartridges that weren't genuine Epson cartridges. They were off-brand ones. I listed them on eBay, not knowing any better, and Epson themselves reported me and had them taken down. So be careful with off-brand, be careful with aftermarket, but if it's a genuine sealed packet of an ink cartridge, and you know, you can, again, something you can pick up relatively cheaply and make a reasonable return on. In fact, people have made whole businesses out of just selling inks. Moving swiftly on. This is a Polaroid P-series camera. Classic Polaroid. Polaroids have been enjoying a real renaissance lately. Hipsters, Instagram and the likes have made Polaroid a really popular brand again. People are looking into them, people are buying them. The older cameras, generally I tend to find anything that uses the 600 style film, and you'll see that on the... Let me just open it up for you. And I can show you, if I can remember how I even get in the blooming thing on camera. There we go. So you'll generally see underneath, when you open the front flap on the camera, it'll tell you what film it uses. Pretty much anything that uses a 600 series of film, people want them. It's still a film format you can buy, and it's still in demand. Testing a Polaroid camera, they're powered by the film. So either pick up a film from somewhere, they're not overly expensive, pick up a film, you can use that then to test all of your cameras. Even if it runs out of shots on the film, you'll still be able to pop it in there. The battery that's in the film will power the camera, it'll flash, it'll cycle the mechanism, it just won't spit a picture out at the other end, and that's a reasonable level of test. This one does have a small issue in that the Velcro tabs on there have come away, but I do have those just here. And that's just going to be a simple case of a bit of hot glue just to stick those back on, and that'll be perfectly serviceable and an invisible repair. Last couple of items, we're getting through these relatively quickly, and I really do appreciate you all coming and watching this video. Frankly, if anybody outside of my family, outside of my immediate family ever watches this video, I'll be amazed, so here we go. This is another sort of vintage retro item. This is a Linguaphone French course on 45 RPM vinyl. I have checked it, it's complete. It has all of the parts to the course there, and I didn't really look this item up before I bought it. So what I've done here is bought an item purely on instinct. I've not dropped a massive clanger with it. I will still make some money on it. But the power of research and the power of looking up your items before you part with your money is never to be underestimated. I tend to look at things from the perspective of, well, as long as I'm not going to lose money on it, I don't mind taking a punt. Now, there's probably people out there that have more successful businesses than mine who would say that's a really daft way to think. There are probably people out there who've never thought that way before. I'm not trying to say my way's right, and I never will try and say my way's right. I'm just going to tell you the way I do it, and if you like it, give it a bash by all means. So you've got all these 45s there with a French course on them. They're all in pretty good stead as well. I've checked all of those. They come in a box, which gives you a little key on here. The box itself is not in the best nick. However, I've not seen too many of these sold on eBay. Certainly not in the boxes, and certainly not this old. So who knows, we might be onto something with that one, and it might do better than I think. So that's those. Another sort of vintage, really cool item this. I actually love this. I think I might, if people want to see more videos from me, I might just do a video on this item itself. This is a Rolls razor. Now, I'd never heard of these before. I've been familiar with cutthroat razors, safety razors, the old Gillettes and things like that, but I'd never heard of one of these before. Honestly, I genuinely think if somebody brought something like this out today, they could just clean up on the shaving market, because this is phenomenal. This is like a razor that you'll never need to replace. So on the end, on each end there, you've got a button. You pop the button and it opens the razor itself. Inside here is your razor, and what you've got is a little handle, whoops, which I'm dropping everywhere because trying to do this on camera is so weird. And this is your razor blade. So what happens there is this slots. Just going to have to look over the camera for a second, because I can't do this otherwise. Slide that onto there, tighten that up, and then there you have your razor with a little safety bar as well. So this is actually quite sharp. I can shave my arm there. Well, I'm blonde, so that's probably not a great example, but if I just sort of take a bit, there you go, you can see the hair falling off. This is actually pretty sharp. And one of the reasons this has stayed so sharp over so long, these were produced from my research. These have been produced from around about the 1920s to around about the 1950s. I can't find the exact date on this one yet, but I will do. One of the reasons this has stayed so sharp for so long is because, encased in the box, you've got, on one side here, this is a leather strop, and on the other side here, this is a sharpening stone. So the idea is to just oil up your sharpening stone, and then once you've got, I'll just show you really quickly with this side of the box, which is the strop inside. So your razor blade, when it's fitted, is fitted onto that little nut there. And what you do, this then, you can see how it flips over. So this then is dragging the edge of the blade against that strop, and it's taking any burrs off there. And of course, you can do that on the other side as well, to actually sharpen. So you've got a sharpening side and just a deburring strop inside. Such a cool thing. It's a nickel-plated box with a Greek key pattern on it. You can see there, if I can get it in focus, which I probably can't because this is a phone after all. Keep trying. There we go. You can see the old patent and everything there. Nice and upside down. Professional all the way. But yeah, that's the patent and everything for it as well. So it's a good old-fashioned sort of British product. All sort of folds down into its case and everything as well. So it's a really good little travel product. Actually quite tempted to use it, but I really want to sell it because it's just such a cool thing as well. And it's also got its original sleeve there, which is seen better days. But looking at the back of it there, and reading that warranty as well, if anybody wants to pause and read that warranty, it's quite funny. Sort of the archaic warranty is fantastic. So that's another little bonus. I've got 2 items left to show you. Thank you so much for your patience again and bearing with me. This is something I bought. Again, framing videos is proving difficult for me. Let's just drop it down like that. This is a Lord of the Rings pewter and bronze effect chess set. In there you've got, I'll be perfectly honest with you, I am so ignorant when it comes to Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, all of these sort of fantasy fads, they kind of pass me by, so I'm very ignorant to them in terms of details, but I do know that they're popular. I do know that people like the stuff, it has a massive following, and that it generally always sells. And to be quite honest, that is basically all you need to know. When you get an item in front of you, God, this camera does not like focusing, there we go. When you get an item in front of you, of course, and you're looking to sell it, you want to research it, you want to know as much about it as you possibly can so that you can list that item effectively. But when you're going out and buying those items, there's a lot of knowing that something will sell just because of what it is and who it's by. So anything Lord of the Rings, particularly if it's a quality piece. I mean, look at these. This is these are the bishops on one team. A great big, I'm guessing, ogre of some sort. Yes, there's going to, if anybody watches this video, there's going to be Lord of the Rings fans in the comments probably screaming at me, telling me what it is. But yeah, it looks like some sort of ogre. You've got little orcs as pawns in this one, which are quite cool. I definitely know that they're orcs. I'm sure they're orcs. And then you can go into sort of things like, okay, these are some things that I do know. So you've got your Silver King there is Gandalf, and the Gold King is Christopher Lee's character. Is it Saruman? Yeah, I think it's Saruman. Yeah, so that's the Lord of the Rings chess set. It does have a board under there as well, but as I say, I'm having enough trouble framing this as it is, so trying to get the board out to show you is going to be a bit of a nightmare. As I say, I'll get better at this and get more professional with the whole video thing if people like seeing my videos. Last item for today, guys, is this big bugger. This is a Nakajima AX160 electric typewriter. Electric typewriters are something I've just recently hit onto, and I guess you could call this my first ever bolo. Bolo, for those of you not familiar with terminology, is be on the lookout. I think it comes from American police terminology, but it's used a lot in reseller communities as well to describe items that you should look out for. Electric typewriters, yeah, people that are selling them don't think they're worth a lot of money. People that want to buy them are prepared to pay up for them, so it's kind of win-win. We're in a modern era where everything is online, everything's on a computer, but what about when servers go down? What about things being hacked? What about information being stolen, etc.? I'm guessing this is why electric typewriters are popular currently, is because they're not hackable, they're not uploaded to the cloud or anything like that, and they're quite easy to kind of keep your information secret because you just type it up on there and then away you go. Testing is really easy. They just plug in. So you just plug it in, stick a piece of paper in there, and away you go. You might find some models that need a replacement ribbon inside because they work like an old dot matrix printer, so they have an ink ribbon in there. Ink ribbons can be had relatively cheaply on eBay, Amazon and other online marketplaces, etc. there. So that is my first little haul video to show you. I really, really do sincerely thank you all for... Well, I say you all, nobody might ever watch this, but anybody who watches this, whether you're in my family or not, I know I joked about just my family watching this before, but whether you're in my family or not, anybody who watches this, thank you so much for your time. If you enjoyed the video, please do leave me a like. If you didn't enjoy the video, leave me a thumbs down as well, dislike. Let me know in the comments if there's anything that you want to hear from me, anything you want to see me do different, or any way I can just improve at doing this beyond the glaringly obvious. But thank you all so much for your time. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I'll get to speak to you all again soon. Take care and have a great weekend. Cheers. Okay, sorry guys, cheeky little edit at the end here. I did say to you that I would tell you what I spent on those items and roughly what I expect to make on them. When I say what I expect to make on them, at this stage it's what I expect to list them for. eBay will charge me fees, there'll be postage fees. Some things might get sold under offer, so they might not necessarily make the full price that I'm expecting for them. But just to give some of you who may be thinking about reselling an idea, or who already resell and want to see what sort of profit other people are making, because let's face it, we're all nosy on that aspect as well. I spent a total of £51 on the items that you've just seen. I expect to return around about 300 quid on that £50 spend. That is not bad at all. And I bought all those items in the same day, so you could look at that from the point of view of I have potentially made 250 quid for a day's work. Obviously it's not going to be quite that after fees, etc., but there aren't too many people that can say they're doing that. So is reselling worth doing? Absolutely it is. Can anyone do it? Absolutely they can. Do you need a lot of money to start out doing it? No, you do not. You can start out with £1 and roll it from there. But again, these are things I can go into in later videos if people want to hear from me. So once again, guys, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for watching my video. Any suggestions down below, and do feel free to subscribe me. Thanks a lot. Take care.